Hi, welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and today I want to talk about my May TBR. So I have a decent stack of books over here to share, but this is not so much a TBR as it is like a pile of possibilities, because I decided that for May I wanted to do Mood Reading May, which I actually did last May with Becca from Hicks Picks Books. We're not really like officially doing it this year, but I just decided that I just wanted to mood read into May. So I have like a couple of books that I'm definitely reading because they're buddy reads, but most of the books that I'm going to share are like, we'll see what I want to do here. So the one book that I want to prioritize this month and I'm definitely going to read, because I'm co-hosting a read-along of it, is Dr. Chivago by Boris Pasternak. You may have seen me share Christy Lewis's announcement video about this read-along. You're more than welcome to join us. We are having kickoff reading sprints on May 1st in the Literary Discord discourse, and I can get you a link to that if you're interested, but we'll be discussing in the Discord and then having a live show at the end of May as well. So I am co-hosting this with Christy Lewis from Dostoevsky in Space, Stephanie from Miss Richards Reads, and Evie from She Was Only Evie, and I've read no Pasternak yet, so I'm excited to read this, and this edition is just really, really pretty. I actually got it, I think, for free from like Thrift Books or something because I had a free book, so that was exciting. I don't know what I'm going to think about the translator. The translator is Max Hayward and Manya Harari. Never heard of either of those. So hopefully it's a good translation because it's a very pretty book. And then I have a couple of nonfictions that I am buddy reading with people that I'll be working on. One of which maybe I will finish in April because I'm recording this on the 27th. So I still have 4 days left of the month. So I might finish it by then. And that is The Sinner and the Saint by Kevin Birmingham. This is a nonfiction book about Dostoevsky and his writing of Crime and Punishment and the murderer that inspired his whole writing of the story. So it's been really interesting. It's not only about the murder, it's not only about Crime and Punishment. We also get the whole backstory to Dostoevsky. I am like more than halfway through right now, and the writing is just like really riveting. So it's possible that I will finish this before the end of the month, but I'm throwing this on this TBR video because maybe I won't, but if I don't finish it by the end of the month, it will probably be shortly finished toward the beginning of May. Forgot to mention, I'm also buddy reading this with Christy Lewis from Dostoevsky in Space. And yet another book that I am buddy reading with Christy and Victoria from A Musical Bookworm is Dietrich Bonhoeffer's Letters and Papers from Prison. I was supposed to read this over Lent and then didn't. And neither did Christy, but Victoria was still like plugging away on it. So we're just now like jumping in. Well, I jumped in later than Christy did because I was trying to finish another Christian nonfiction before I got to this one, so I'm not very far in this at all. So I'll just be plugging my way through this one, so I will be picking it up in the month of May. Will I finish it in May? I don't know. It's pretty long, so there's a good chance that I will not finish it in May, but I'm okay with it. I'm just kind of taking my time with it. So I have another stack of books over here, and most of the books on this stack are books that I want to read for a couple of reading challenges that I do. I'm doing the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, which is hosted by Chantel Reads All Day, and then also the Buzzwordathon by Books and Lala. And so I'm using those two readathons to kind of help me work through my read or rid pile, which is a pile of books that I want to read by the end of the year, and if I haven't, I need to get rid of them because they've been sitting on my shelf for way too long. So I have possibilities for each of the prompts for those. So the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge prompt is an author that you haven't read before. And I have 3 books sitting here for that. One of which is not on my read or read pile, but it is on my nonfiction TBR, and it was also one of the books that was chosen for the BookTube spin. And that's Isaac Storm by Eric Larson. I haven't read anything by Eric Larson yet. This book is about the hurricane that swept through Galveston in 1900 and the ensuing disaster. I have heard wonderful things about this book. So I probably will read this in May, probably because I get the feeling that I'll be in the mood for it. I don't know if I'll use it for this prompt or if I'll just read it, but I threw it on there because it is an author that I haven't read yet. I guess technically Dr. Chivago would count for that as well, because I haven't read anything by Pasternak either. So I guess I'm potentially reading a lot of new authors this month. The other two books I have here are from my reader rid stack, one of which is Life of Pi by Jan Martel. I don't really know very much about this book. I think it's got some magical realism elements to it. I think it's kind of strange, but I don't know. I've heard some people say they like it. Some people say they just didn't get it. Some people say it was stupid. So I've heard the whole gamut about this book. And I bought it at a library book sale, so it's been sitting on my shelves for a really long time. So this might make it. And the other one that might make it is The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. And this is it's a thicker book, like about 500 pages. I think it's a fantasy, and I think it's very like heist related. This is one of Murphy Napier's favorite books, favorite series. It's the first in the Gentleman Bastard series, which I think is a trilogy. So I picked this up at a library book sale, and it's a library discard book, which means my library is not going to carry it anymore. So I figured I should go ahead and pick it up because I might not get another chance to read it. So I may end up going with this one, even though it's the longest one on this selection of books for this prompt. But I'm going to be going on vacation in May and finishing up school and stuff for homeschool. So I may want something that's a little bit more, I don't know, fantastical, just because it will feel like escapism, and this feels like this might actually be a really good vacation read. Okay, so the Buzzwordathon prompt for May is a direction word in the title, and I am really grasping at straws for this one. I have two books here, but the issue is one of these books was a book that I was supposed to read in March for a location in the title, and that's Moon Over Manifest. Don't know if over counts as a direction word, but I'm gonna say it does. So there's this one, but I was already supposed to read this for another prompt like 2 months ago and didn't. So I kind of feel like that's cheating to like double up and use it for two prompts, but it's there. This is a YA historical fiction, I think. And then the other one has the word over in it too, but Gregory the Overlander. I know that this really doesn't count, but like I even looked through all my other TBRs, like my classics TBR, my nonfiction TBR. I looked through books that I've recently purchased and like couldn't find any books that had any direction word in it. So I would have been grasping at straws anyway, but yeah, this is also a middle grade. This is, I think, fantasy or something like that. It's the first in a series. It's written by Suzanne Collins, who is famous for the Hunger Games series. So yeah, so I am interested in reading this one. So I don't know. I know that the prompt is grasping at straws, but sometimes that's just what happens. I also have a couple of library books here that I'm really excited about. They are new releases. And I have a few other new releases that are coming in that might also end up being read next month, because a lot of these I mentioned in my quarter year crisis book tag. So one of those is The Maid by Nita Prose. This is a mystery. I don't know if it's like counts as a thriller or if it's more like a mystery. But yeah, I've heard really good things about this book. This book just came out, and so yeah, I will probably read this next month. I've been just kind of waiting because I really want to pick it up, but there's a couple books that I'm trying to finish at the end of April, so it's just sitting here and it's staring at me, along with I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys. I have heard a couple people say they didn't love this, but overall I've heard most people say that they really enjoyed it. I really like Ruta Sepetys' writing a lot. I've read a couple of her books so far, and this book is actually set in Soviet Russia, which is a favorite setting of mine. Like, I really, really like that time period, and I'm fascinated by it. And so it's about this boy who, I believe he wants to become a writer, and he has to basically become a secret police informant to be able to do what he wants to do, which means that he will be informing like on his family and his friends. And so he has to make this difficult decision of what he should do. So that just sounds like a really, really interesting setting. I'm really, really excited to read this one. I have had a couple people who love the same kind of books as me and are also fascinated with this time period who absolutely loved this book, so that makes me think I'm gonna love it. So this book has been staring at me ever since I got it from the library, and I need to pick it up really soon. So even though this is like mood reading May, like I'm in the mood for both of these books, even though they're so different. Both of them are so intriguing, and I really, really want to read them soon. Another book that I'm waiting to come in, I don't have it with me yet. It's a library book. The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. That was another book that I mentioned in my quarter year crisis book tag. That is like a new release that I really want to read. So I'm waiting for that one too, because that is just like, that's fantasy, I think, and it's Asian inspired. Cover is just gorgeous. So all of those books are like newer books that I'm like really excited to read. So those will probably get read at some point during May. Well, that's it for this TBR, which is actually much more of a pile of possibilities than a TBR, with like the exception of a couple of books that I am prioritizing a bit more. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. What are you planning on reading in May? I know there are so many really fun challenges happening in May, and I just keep seeing them pop up in my feed, and I keep like wanting to participate in these challenges, but I know that I need a month to just like chill. So that's my plan, and I think that Tiffany and May will thank me for that plan. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me, and I will see you again next time.